So as we reflect on prevention, policy and innovation, our next thought leadership moment invite us to look ahead at the sustainability of our practices, the ethics of our choices, and the impact of emerging biomedical technologies on dentistry future. We all know that dentistry today stands at a fascinating crossroad where patient expectations, technological breakthroughs, and ethical consideration intersect every single day. So how do we ensure that progress remains purposeful and that clinical excellence goes hand in hand with empathy, responsibility, and sustainability? To set the stage for that discussion, we are privileged to have with us a leader, thinker, and an educator par excellence, Dr. Professor Anmol S. Kalha, Director and Advisor, Dentistry at Max Healthcare, New Delhi, and co-founder and chief architect at Medeva Knowledge System, a pioneer in orthodontics, an institution builder, and a mentor to generations of professionals. Dr. Kalha has been a guiding force in shaping ethical, evidence-based, and patient-centered dental care. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Kalha for his opening address on sustainable orthodontics and dentistry challenges and the future of ethics, biomedicine, and outcomes. Let's welcome him with a round of applause.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Thank you. It's been a bit of a long session. You've heard a lot. You've heard doyens in the field. But I've taken this opportunity to come up and share a few thoughts which should set the trend for what you're going to hear and what you're going to discuss. Some of the things that I say may challenge what you've been living with, but then nevertheless, there is a point to be made, and let's sort of look at it. So here's my first question, ladies and gentlemen. I'm addressing it to this august audience. Is dentistry in India today in crisis? And there is a quote from Charles Dickens. He says, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times, it was the age of wisdom, it is the age of... Because my first concern was when the topic for the lecture came, that changing consumer thinking. So what am I? Am I treating a patient? Or am I treating a customer? There's a huge difference. We'll come to that. So is a patient or does he become a customer? Here's a problem. And if you're looking at the plus side, the dental market in India, I do think and talk about it, was valued at about $653 million in 2022, and it's growing at a compound aggregate growing rate of 10%. Right? You can see what it is today and where it's going tomorrow. So it should be a bright moment for dentistry in India. You can see the rise. You just look at the clear aligner market. It's growing 34%. And it's going to hit, say, $1,053 million by 2030. So my question is, why are we concerned? Is all well in paradise? I mean, this way, dentistry, we should be all sort of laughing all the way to the bank and living on top of the world. All right, let's take this further. What are the challenges? And I've just listed them out. You can have a look that sustainability, biomedicine, diagnostic efficiency, I'll come down to that. Impact of plastics and metals, and we're going to talk about induction or introduction of technology. And my question is, do we teach complex science anymore? I was talking to Deepak Rai. We don't. We've compartmentalized. An orthodontist only talks orthodontics, and a prosthodontist talks only prosthodontics, and the poor dentist worries in the middle that where am I standing with this whole lot? I just come back from Europe. They have a department of gnathology. And I was privileged as an orthodontist to speak to the Hungarian Association of Prosthodontists and Gnathologists, and I had to sort of crack a joke and say, I'm the beginning, you're the end, because I start with kids, and when everything falls out, you get down to prosthodontics. But I'm going to leave you with some thoughts, ladies and gentlemen, and this is what is transforming dentistry today, not from the pleasant times. I think the first challenge is your patient transformation. That's number one. Number two, your populations are graying. They're getting older. And number three, you advertise. We don't, but the industry advertises. Vimal is not here. Everybody advertises. And you know what it does to practice? It changes everything. Okay? Rashmika Mandana has never worn an aligner in her life. I know her personally because I go to Coots, but here she is promoting aligners. So what do? You build up great expectations. talk to the clinicians in this hall that how do you deal with a patient who comes in and says, listen, I want to be transformed. I want to look like a film star. Oh, that's your problem. Can you make everybody look like a film star? Maybe you can, maybe you can't. But the expectations have been built up, so it hits your practice at the end. Mark my words, it comes to that. Because, so let's look at the fact, and I looked at it, that what is the impact of non-verbal communication on influencing people, and which is exactly what everybody's doing, because this is the world of neuroscience and non-verbal communication. You see that's the Times Square in New York. If you've been there, you can see the lights hitting you, or you just look at Connaught Place at night. Now, there are about 5,000 images coming at you, ladies and gentlemen. How many of them does your mind comprehend and remember? Not more than 250. But let's take it one step further, because I've met Professor Albert Bonning. He was lecturing with us, and this is what happens. You retain about 20% of what you hear. You retain 40% of what you see, and 80% of what you touch. It's about 60% when you come and mix around like this. What you see and what is thrown at you from every hoarding, from every pillar, from every post, from every social media is what changes your perception. Now, I don't know whether it changes it as a doctor, but it changes it as a patient, and here you are. You have an over-informed patient with great expectations, right? In terms of delivery and outcomes. Doctor, do you do aligners? Okay. I do aligners, but I need aligners. I said, do you need aligners or do you need a treatment? If you need a treatment, stay with me, otherwise you can go anywhere and get scanned. This is the value of expectations. Your demographics. You treat more adults. I'm one of the few, odd guys in orthodontics. You want to get treated by me, I'm going to say, when did you get your last blood picture done? Can I see your vitamin D and thyroid levels? And are you taking any medicine for autoimmune disease? Because I've been hit. How do I move teeth? They're fixed to your bone, and the bone is vascular. No, but nobody's asked me. I'm only here to fix a smile. Sorry, you find somebody else who will fix your smile. So here's your next challenge, ladies and gentlemen. Think about it, because you're getting into practice. The patient may intellectually understand and accept the treatment, but will not realize the realities associated with dentistry. All right, let's go one step further. This is called the perfection trap. This stares at you, it stares at the patients, and they come thinking, oh, Dr. Deepak Rai, he's the best guy I know. The moment I walk in like that, I'll have a Rashmika Mandana smile. Cheers, happy days. Can you do it? If he can't do it, he fails, and then the patient goes shopping from one place to the other. But this is the reality, because you have patients educated in Google University who come and tell you what you need to do for them rather than you telling them what you need to do. Here's your challenge as a dentist. All right, this is the next challenge. This is a word which has been accepted. It's an overconsumption of the social media and what you have in your hand. It's called brain rot. It's a cognitive decline. And the warning bells are up, ladies and gentlemen. Your academia is going into cognitive decline. Very few people, your professors, very few people write sentences which lead to critical thinking. It's all going to AI and ChatGPT to make it. And this is serious. This is serious. It's the impact of the mind. But what does it do to you as a dentist? I know what it does to me as an orthodontist, because there's misinformation. There are unrealistic expectations. There's a shift from functional to pure aesthetic. We were talking, General Avasthi is here, we battered our heads against the wall, Dr. Kohli left. But please tell me, we've been trying to say that, we are a holistic healthcare pattern, and what is the industry pushing out at the world? It's about smiles, crooked teeth. We'll give you a brilliant smile. Hello, what about the human being behind that smile? Are you fixing that, or are you here only to become a barber clinician specialist that I know the best way to cut the front teeth? Oh, it takes 6 months or 1 year to do a treatment. The patient only needs front teeth, but did you look at the occlusion? Did you look at the abfractions? Did you see the thinness? Did you see the gingiva? No, I didn't. I just cut the front teeth, put facings, and 10 years later, what happens to all that? Think about it, folks. Let me come to the next point. Age is more than a number. Majority of my cases that come to me in Max, and I treat adults and I do a fair amount of work with them, age matters. And trust me, if you say that age is just a number, I'm sorry, I disagree with you, because this goes beyond crooked smiles and teeth, because there is a shifting spectrum of patients, right? Tell me if I'm wrong. I have patients who are 70 and 60 who come for aligners and other treatment, and I have to get into a serious medical discussion. What is the ghost? I heard, we had an eminent professor here talking about the impact of non-communicable disease. Do we teach it to our students? What is the impact of non-communicable disease on the delivery of oral health care? I mean, you can't stick an implant into a mouth if a patient has diabetes which is uncontrolled, or there are bacteria which are growing in the mouth. You can't do it. Your ecosystem is contaminated. The industry is here. My question is, what are we going to do about it? I'll raise that issue because I work with the FDI, and a question has been raised in the European Parliament. What are you doing with the amount of plastics you're generating from aligners? So this is a challenge for ethics, right? Now here is the evidence, ladies and gentlemen, and we are still missing the link. The government of India doesn't realize that you and I have a serious role to play, because I just want to point out a few things. There is an absolute link between Alzheimer's disease and oral health. Pancreatic cancer and pancreatitis, please have a look. You want to look at anything. Obstructive sleep apneas. Reena's here, we've beaten our heads against the wall that every institution should screen for obstructive sleep apnea. Every orthodontic patient should be checked. Nobody does it. Do we do it? No, we don't. We don't. And yet we stand here and say, oh, the government is not recognizing this. Because the entire promotion is that we are just skilled craftsmen who cut teeth and make them beautiful and white. Sorry, don't agree, ladies and gentlemen. This is, perhaps you'll have to take it with a pinch of salt, but this is the reality, right? What happens with age? We've gone into this. Tissues don't respond as they should. Things slow down. I can't play 36 holes of golf. My feet hurt if I play 18 holes on one day. This is what happens. Did you check the blood profile of your patient who came for treatment? Oh, you never did. After all, you're an orthodontist, so you're just sticking one thing, do the INR and put an implant. Hello, how does he heal? I burnt fingers. I learned from there that you need to know your patient from within, right? Moving teeth may be a local event, but it's got the background of a human being. The most intensely vascular and innervated point of view position in the whole human body is the human mouth. We don't teach it to our students. We break them down into departments. We teach them this is how you make a denture, this is how you do orthodontics, and this is how you pull out a tooth. We never connect the things. So here's my challenge for the people who foment policy here for teaching. I've been a part of it. So what can I say? All right. This is biomedicine. How many of you even think to talk about it? Please read it, what it says. Okay? Bone density. How many of you are interested? Aesthetic norms differ for adults and younger people. We still work on Western norms which are devised for 22-year-old young people. Come on, you've got to change it. What about existing dental work in the mouth and you trying to do other things? Is there a conflict? I had a patient, I put a very expensive gold appliance in his mouth. I was doing, incognito which came, and he was, thank God, he was a Supreme Court lawyer. And 5 days later, he comes back with fulminant lichen talus on his back. And there's Dr. Zahir Ahmed, God bless him. He was the head of dermatology. We did a lot of work with him. And he said, we did the test, and he says, just take out all metal in his mouth, otherwise this is not going to heal. And we had to remove everything. We had to go back, even his metal fillings were taken out. He healed in 3 months. So, lesson learned. You can't do that. Thank you. 90% of patients who come to me in the adult have had 3 rounds of treatment and have come because they have atypical facial pain. They don't sleep. They see everybody. And then you realize there's occlusal disharmony. The daughter of the person who runs Bill Gates Foundation came to me eventually, having seen everybody from splints to everything, and all I found was that some orthodontist had left a extruded 7, so there was a fulcrum. And it used to distract the condyle every time she incised. Do we teach occlusion? Do we talk about it collectively to our students as clinicians? Do we think about it? We don't. Sorry, it's a bit hard-headed. Ethics. What are the principles of ethics? I had to speak for 90 minutes at the Czech conference. I've just spoken for 90 minutes on ethics. I had to read for 6 months to do that. You minimize harm. And you minimize harm not just to the patient, but to the environment. So what are we doing for the environment? This is sustainability. I do work with the FDI in Europe, and they're talking about sustainable dentistry. So this is aligners, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure they must be wondering, the girls, they told me don't speak for too long. I said I'll wake up the audience and I'll walk away. Thank you. It's the magic of aligners. We've been through a space. Oh, you don't need to go to an orthodontist. Why waste time with that guy? He's good. He's an idiot. He's going to tell you it's not going to work or work. I'll send somebody home. We'll do a scan. And easy peasy, you've got aligners. Do they work? No. I was asked to write a review on orthodontics in the time of plastics for an international blog. And so they named me the orthodontic philosopher in the West. All right. This is what has happened with aligners. Do you know why aligners suddenly became so popular? I'll tell you why. Of course, adults, aesthetic treatment, which we've overlooked all our lives. There are great expectations, but have you heard of the Zoom effect? By the way, it's been researched, I'm not just speaking about it, that during COVID, when you had nothing to do, you wore a tie on top and half pants down below, and you sat and lectured to people, you also looked at yourself. Say, oh shit, my teeth don't look good. So you said, okay, how do I fix it? Oh, Dr. Kalha, he'll give you aligners and he'll fix it. This was the impact of video conferencing. It changed the world of orthodontics. Mr. Gambhir is here, he must be wondering, because you manufacture aligners, everybody's gung-ho on aligners, and this is what happened because this is the current flavor of the season. Trust me, everybody's talking aligners. There are hundreds of companies that have been formed and they say, oh, come on, I do aligners. It's a boon, it's an appliance which is 50% as efficient as what we've known and twice as expensive. Now, imagine if you need to get a stent placed in your heart and the cardiologist says, this is the ordinary one, it costs X amount of money, but it works. But if you want a better sophisticated one, it's half as efficient and twice the price. You wouldn't do that, but you do it with aligners. Invisalign, I've done a lot of it. So have we addressed the elephant in the room, ladies and gentlemen? The elephant in the room is plastics. And I want you to think about it because your kids and the patients you do, we are running some studies on that to see what is the amount of plastic you release in the mouth in 7 days if you wear a standard aligner. All right? We consume 182 million tons of plastic. I speak for the FDA in Europe, and this comes from there. Microplastics are in your toothpaste, toothbrushes, everywhere. They are everywhere, leave alone the bane of aligners. So let me talk about aligners. Right? What's the challenge? 15 million people around the globe being treated on clear aligners as I speak to you. As I said, I had to speak in Europe, so I went through it. 50 to 70 sets of aligners, depending on the complexity of the case, over a period of time. And a set of aligners plus a bag cost is about 4.3 grams. My mathematics is very weak, but if you were to multiply 8.6 into 15 million, tell me how many grams of plastic do we have? And to generate one set of aligners, because I've been there, I've seen it, requires about 6 motors, because we still thermoplastic, creating aligners. And would you like to see how many cases we have lost aligners and we have non-compliant patients who say, I've lost the aligners, and you don't worry, Invisalign is going to give me for 5 years, take as many aligners. So what the patient does is, takes the aligner, throws it into the garbage. Ladies and gentlemen, that regulation is coming. Aligners are made from medical grade plastic. No country in the world permits you to dispose of medical grade products in your kitchen garbage. We are doing it. So what happens to the world? This is what happens. They are eating into your bones. This is a map of where they've been found in the human body, right? They are influencing bone health. They are looking at regeneration of bone. I don't even want to scare you, but the fact is I do aligners, but you have to be twice as efficient. You have to use the optimum number of aligners. You have to make sure that your aligners come from a standard company which does not leach microplastics. Every time a patient wears an aligner and chews or speaks, those aligners are rubbing against the so-called attachments. How does the inner surface of the aligner degrade? What is the biofilm that develops on the aligners in 7 days of usage? We are trying to study it, but it's complicated. It is complicated. So, 9% of plastic is recycled, right? 19% is incinerated, 50% goes into sanitary landfills, and 22% is improperly managed. We never spoke about aligners. What about the 100, 200 patients I've treated with aligners? What did I tell them? Throw away your aligners? I didn't even bother. I've now started telling them, collect them, bring them back, don't throw them away. I'll give you chocolates, I'll give you 5% off or whatever, bring them back, don't dispose them. I'll make sure the biomedical guys come and take them. This is my humble request to the industry, to everybody. Please initiate a process where we do not leach plastics, because you know what? You wear them for 21 hours a day, right? And it's a harsh environment. The oral environment can degrade anything in the world. And they're subject to salivation, bacterial colonization. We are studying bacterial colonization. And this is what happens with aligners. So it's a warning bell. We talk of technology, where is it taking us? What about the other things that we use? How much of nickel and chromium? We did some tests to show that, we had instances of nickel allergy with the best of appliances, and you realized that we did a study, we published it in one of the world journals, that kids who use the cell phone leach heavy metals because of ionization in the mouth. Who thought about it? Nobody did, we did. There are cases where I openly tell the parents that if your kid is going to you want metal braces and the kid's going to use a cell phone for 7 hours a day, then I'm going to say go aligners. Otherwise the kid is going to swallow heavy metals. And I could give you the statistics on the autoimmune disease and the allergic patterns in society, in Indian society. Every girl I meet beyond the age of 40 has an autoimmune problem. Check it, see it in your practices. So this is where we are. And my last thing is technology. Does it change everything? Does it improve everything? Because there's a great thing that how does technology change everything? My question is, you have a technology which is developed by one set of people. I worked on artificial intelligence. I have a startup. We've been doing it for 7-8 years. When you start looking at it, it's not magical. All right, you have a technology. Who trains the young dentist or doctor to work the technology? As a teacher, I don't. So what happens is you come to the Ambassador Hotel, in 2 days you learn how to wave a wand and send it to the back office, and they make an aligner and send it to you. This is failure of technology. We need to commit ourselves to teaching in the right manner, and your teacher, General Awasthi said it, it's been a privilege to work with him and Dr. Kohli. We've been to Ghulam Nabi Azad, you name it, we've made presentations. You need to train the trainer before you train the student. It's not happening. And new technology, when was the last curriculum change on the floor of a dental college? I've forgotten. I was a part of the team. We did a lot of work together with them, but after that, what happened? You talk implants. Do you teach them at the undergraduate level? We talk aligners. How many, you might bring in a company to make a lecture for 2 days to your postgraduate students, but do we teach it in the real sense as to the biology, the efficiency, the method of handling? We don't. That's where the change needs to come in. And you look at this. Technology does not always improve things, ladies and gentlemen. This is the problem, that we are moving to a world, everybody wants to work into digital pathways, but just because things are moving faster and safer, it slips. Malcolm Gladwell. But let me tell you what's worse. Have you heard of the Jevons paradox? The Jevons was an English economist who said that technical advancements do not lead to efficiency or resource conservation. For example, somebody said, the steam engine is replaced by the car. So what did everybody do? We have 3 cars. Now, so did technology really reduce consumption or the carbon footprint on Mother Earth? No. Hello, it's like the girl who goes and says, I want an ice cream. And the guy says, it's so good. It's half the calories. She says, give me a triple scoop. So what did technology do? It tripled your requirements, okay? So this is the environmental impact. She's getting worried, but I'm walking away. And I would suggest that anybody who joins dentistry who has anything to do with this should read this article. And it's a brilliant article. It says, your life is lived through your teeth, the biographical disruption experiences of tooth loss and replacement. And Dr. Kohli is not here, but we've discussed it with him. We've taken up projects in Coorg. I'm associated there. We are looking at linking oral health with premature birth problems and postpartum complications. We are looking at an ICMR project on linking the effect of edentulousness, nutritional status, and the incidence of type 2 diabetes in plantation workers who need the energy. I mean, they don't have teeth, they eat sugars. This is the kind of research that we are into. And anybody who says you don't get grants, I can tell you this, in Coorg we raise about 3 to 4 crores every year, and people come out and support you with grants if you want to do it. Lavasi is here. I've learned from them, from Dr. Kohli. If you want to do it, there's money. The question is, what do you want to do? Most people want to research only. So here you are, ladies and gentlemen. This is your challenge. And I insisted, I drove this poor girl nuts. I said, you don't give me 10 minutes to speak, I will not come and participate. Because I had to make a point. I'm so grateful to Voice of Health. Because we've been talking about creating a think tank which is independent, where industry, teachers, clinicians, students, everybody comes together. And this is the common forum from which we can make a start. I would seriously suggest it. Dr. Kohli and me had a word when he went away, and I said, listen, I think we should look at compiling the proceedings of this meeting into a white paper with some scientific content and sending it to the government of India and say, folks, this is what this profession thinks. Don't ignore us, because we are a part of overall health if you think this is not there. So thank you very much. And if I manage to wake you up, very good. If not, just wake up your thinking. God bless you. Jai Hind. Thank you, Simran.